Hi everyone! Today I will be showing you how to propagate Zamioculcas zamiifolia, better known as the juicy plant, which is a stemless perennial with a thick, fleshy petioles and shiny leaflets. For materials we need at least 2 cc plants, sharp blade, steamer number 1, perlite, and agromix. And you want to make sure that our station is clean by cleaning it with alcohol before starting any of our experimentations. So let's start by taking our material. First, we want to cut the leaves of the stock plants near the base and in an angle, like so. And we will do this with several other leaves because this will be our material for our experiment. It is always good to clean the material before working with it, so like that we will be getting rid of any microbe, parasites, or pests that could affect our experiment. And here I was just cleaning it with soap and water. So let's get into our first set of experimentations, which are the leaflet cuttings. So the first cutting we're going to do is entire leaf cuttings, and what we're going to do in here is to cut the petiole as near to the rachis as possible. And for each treatment, I should mention that I had 10 individuals, and I also had a mixture of 75% perlite and 25% agromix. And also all of them were steam rooted with steam root number 1 for herbaceous species. So here it is. You put steam root at the base of the petiole, and then you insert it using a tool or your fingers, and you insert it into the medium. So for the next two experiments, we will do vertical leaflet cutting parallel to the midvein that I'm showing you right here. And like this, we will have one side with the midvein and the other one without. And we just cut it as close to the midvein as possible. So we will end up with something like this. And now we just put steam root on the wounded side, like so. And we try to get it as saturated as possible. And then we just insert it with the wounded side down, respecting polarity, and you just want deep enough so that it's touching the medium and it can develop roots. Next, we're going to take the leaflet and cut it horizontally through the middle so that we will end up with an apical part and a basal part. And in here, I will be taking the apical part, expose the bottom to the steam root, and then insert it into the medium. Now let's take the base of the leaflet we just cut and put steam root at the petiole end rather than the upper end, and then insert it into the medium. So now that we're done with leaflets, let's go into our second set of experimentations with rachis cutting. So this is the technique that we will be using for any of our rachis cuttings. So we want to cut near the nodes at around 1 centimeter away from them, and the bottom we want to cut it in an angle, while the top we want to cut it in a horizontal manner, like so. And like this we will end up with top horizontal and bottom in an angle. So for our first experience, we'll be having 1 mil rachis cuttings, and we'll be also taking out the leaflets. And then we'll just put steam root on the bottom and insert it into our medium. In this one, we're doing the same thing as before, which is one-note bracket cuttings, but we are leaving the leaflet. And this is a step I forgot to do in here, but I did do after. But you should trim the leaflet so that we minimize transpiration from the plant. Then you put the stem rod on the bottom and insert it into the medium. The next one is two-note bracket cuttings with leaflets, and for all of our brackets we want nodes that are alternate. And again, you should trim the leaflets. It will make the process much easier when inserting it into the medium. This is the last of the experiments, which is three-note bracket cuttings with leaflets, and we do the same thing as before. Angle at the bottom, three notes, top horizontal cut, and stem root it and insert it into the medium. So this is what we will end up with. So after 6 weeks in the mist frame, let's see what we have. So to take out the seedlings, you can either use a tool or your hands, whichever you're more comfortable with, and you just gently pull the seedlings, and you should have a bowl with some water so you can wring the roots out. So after you have done this with this one, you just continue into the other one, and after this your seedlings are ready to be potted. So you can use a small rounded pot filled with agromix, which is a soil with a mixture composed of peat, vermiculite, and perlite, which the seedlings love, and then you're ready to go. So I just wanted to quickly show you the results of our experiments. So in here all of them died. In here only one died and all of the others developed some roots. Third one with the entire leaves were all successful and had lots of roots developed. This one here was not very successful and had limited amount of roots, but what's interesting is that calluses were forming at each vein. And here only the petiole end had some roots. And here again, not much success, but calluses forming at the vein. This one is not as successful as the entire leaves, but you had some roots developed. Two-note cuttings were quite successful too, and had lots of roots developed, but for three-note cuttings, it was not as successful with limited amount of roots.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the CZ plant propagation project.